Archetype Entertainment seems to be going whole hog on the narrative story-driven RPG. Now I say RPG, they haven't shown us anything RPG-ish about the game yet, but that's what they keep calling it. So let's hope they're right. They seem intent on building a rich world full of lore and tangible history. And this matters when it comes to a story-driven game. It's one of the reasons everybody loves books like Lord of the Rings. You feel like you're there, even if maybe you are bored out of your mind with world building. With Archetype's sci-fi setting, they're blending our knowledge of current Earth, technology, and ideology with the fantastical, near light-speed travel, 40,000 years in the future, but still retaining human connections. There are, of course, pros and cons to doing prequel data dumps. The biggest pro is obviously we get to see some of the events that led up to why everything is happening the way it's happening. And setting these prequels only a short couple of hundred years in the future gives us relatability. Because, let's face it, no matter how human the characters are in the 40,000 years in the future, they are still 40,000 years in the future, and it's hard to make a connection. Especially when it's not written and you're just watching things and you're having to drive characters around and interact in a game environment. It is not the same as narrative prose. But every pro has a con. The con in this case being all of these people that we're reading about are long dead. Will have nothing to do with our characters. At best, we'll get some environmental storytelling that may reference them. However, some story is better than no story, and I'm happy to read these little short stories, and that's being generous. They're not long at all, and they do help me understand and engage with this universe. So far, on the prologue page, they've given us 4 chapters. Each chapter is prefaced with a short video, and yes, watch those videos before you read the little chapter, because it will deliver you critical need-to-know information when reading. For example, I now know why a pig is running around helping some guy solve a mystery. Along with the 4 chapters, Chapter 2 has a second story over in the news section that is a special Mother's Day story. That was a nice touch as they released it on Mother's Day. So, what are my thoughts on these stories? Well, first off, I love short stories. They're fun. Chapter 1 introduces us to the awakened animals. It's probably my favorite. Centers around an old, overweight security guard and his awakened pig, Doris. This has a bit of the Columbo feel. Brody comes and goes, asks a couple questions, and asks some more questions until we get to the heart of the matter. He plays kind of the dumb hick, but is he really? Maybe he really knows what's going on, or maybe he's relying on Doris. We're never told that, but it's fun and fun to speculate. And while I'm not going to spoil any of these stories, I like the fact that the awakened, while highly intelligent, apparently are not devoid of their original instincts and behaviors. This is a pair that I would love to see more about. Chapter 2 focuses on a mother who spends way too much time on the project to the detriment of her daughter. It's a nice character study and portrays some level of urgency to get these arcs built, but this story also, to me, illustrates a lack of understanding on my part of why there's such urgency. It's not like the sun is about to blow up. Sure, there's an ecological disaster coming, but how far away is that? What is the nature of it, and why aren't they getting resources from other locations? It kind of raises a few more technical questions that, for a story grounded in hard science, just never get answered. Still, the mother-daughter story is perfectly serviceable and interesting. In fact, Chapter 2 is the one that gets the extended story under the news section about the daughter and her similar situation to her daughter as she is now a traveler. Story number 3, much like number 1, is very self-contained and has the elements of those old radio plays. Anybody remember X-1 or Dimension X? Or shows like Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. Chapters 1 and 3 both have strong elements of these old shows in them. And despite 3's little bit of maybe classism here of all the rich people are scum, the irony at the end of the story is well worth it. Now, chapter number 4 is just dark. Of all the stories that I would like to see some continuation, just so there would be some justice, there'd be some resolution, it's not only bleak, but showcases a level of heartless cruelty that never gets resolved. There's no justice. There's nothing that brings a satisfying conclusion to this story. Are there repercussions to Kendall's decisions? Is there no one that disagrees with her? Or maybe there's some justice. And the same can be said for all of these stories. Maybe we'll see Brody and Doris a little bit later on. But I'm certainly glad to see Archetype trying to engage the audience with their universe, with a whole lot more than some slick cinematics and a few technical blurbs. Not that I'm opposed to getting those either. As a final note, the stories are well written. These don't have the feeling that they ask somebody in the mailroom to write some stories because, oh well, they don't really count. It seems to me that they're putting some effort into this, and that is encouraging, at least as far as I can tell. Well, what do you think? Have you read the stories? Do you care? Let us know in the comments below, and remember, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.